Hey guys, welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris. Today we're going to be talking about the book Mindset by Dweck. Basically the book goes on to talk about the different types of mindsets there are, how they come to be, how you can overcome them, and basically start moving towards developing yourself into something she calls a growth mindset. So the first thing that book actually talks about is understanding and basically recognizing that there is a difference between people. In fact, no people are alike, whether it's physically, how they appear, their body language and stuff like that. But she also goes to say that that's the same that goes for mindset, which is very obvious when you talk about it. But then what is the difference and reason as to why it is that people end up becoming who they are, how they basically act, how they look towards doing their daily habits, and so on and so on and so on. Well, she first says that she needs to understand where it is that it was programmed from. So everyone, just like genetics, has a genetic basically inclination to end up being a certain way. But just as important as genetics, nurture plays a part as well. So specifically she has nature and nurture is the person that ends up developing your mindset. Or to put it a little bit simply, or further understanding, is your genes, like where your genetic makeup is, like how you develop as a, like without outside of your control, and the environment that you're actually developing in shapes the type of person you are, from your mindset, your skills, your habits, your personality, and so on and so on and so on. You may have a certain inclination through genetics, but your environment actually plays a part, probably in my opinion, the biggest part whenever it comes to shaping a person. For example, I think that if you're born in the Middle East, you're probably speaking a Middle Eastern language. If you're born in like the Western place, America, you're going to end up speaking like American languages, whether it's English or Spanish, and so on and so on and so on. And so basically where you're born, your environment that you're growing up in, your parents, your friends that you choose to have, and so on, ends up shaping who you are as a person, which then ends up developing the type of mindset that you have. Now, she basically has two mindsets that breaks down that every single person falls into the category of two mindsets. The first one being a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. Now, a fixed mindset, I guess an easy way to basically establish this, are you the type of person who believes that your skills, your potential, everything is capped? You have certain limitations on the types of things that you can learn and who you are as a person, right? You may be able to change through an extended period of time, but for the most part, you are who you are, and it's not likely that you're planning to ever change or that you can even control it. If that's you, then that means that you have a fixed mindset. Now, a fixed mindset is basically, the bad one. That's not the one that you want to be in. The fixed mindset is the type of person who believes that they have no control over their lives, they have no control over who they are. They may have a certain understanding to their decisions and a choice to make behind it, but for the most part, it's all fixed, it's all set in place, and they can't change it, right? They view setbacks as things that they should basically feel terrible on. Anything that basically stops them from moving forward, they are down in the dumps about it, and they don't allow it to basically feed into a determination or continuation or motivation towards making sure that they are moving towards achieving, they are moving towards becoming a better person. Now, a growth mindset is the polar opposite. So a growth mindset or person is the type of person who says, look, all skills are learned. Where everyone was at one point a baby, right? A baby doesn't have the same inclination to become a makeup artist or a basketball player. These aren't natural occurring things in life. You can learn anything just at any age. It may be harder at older ages, but the truth is, if you put your mind to it and you're committed to growth, right, you can achieve what it is that you're looking to learn, what it is that you're looking to accomplish. Nothing is actually set in stone. So you basically look towards actively understanding yourself, where you're at, and basically where you want to achieve, where you want to go, where you want to move. And that's the way that you want to be. Basically, setbacks aren't things that you get down in the dumps on. Setbacks aren't things that you basically get stuck on. Setbacks you utilize as moments towards learning, evaluation, how you can utilize and apply the stuff that you did learn through failure in order to make sure that you're still applying it, moving forward, becoming a better person, getting closer to the goals that you're setting to achieve. Now, obviously there is a choice, just like how a growth person, in order to basically say that to have a growth mindset means that you can change, means that you can change your mindset. If you are a fixed mindset, you do have the opportunity to move towards becoming a growth mindset. In fact, if you do feel like you did answer to some questions where you feel as if skills are all basically genetic, it's very difficult to learn certain things, setbacks do demotivate you from actually achieving more. If you can recognize that, that's the first step. Because the first step towards becoming someone, a growth mindset, a person of learning, a person of improvement, is basically understanding, right? So, first of all, you need to understand where it is that your mindset developed from. First of all, if you do believe that it was nurtured, your environment and the people that brought you around it, then basically understand. Is it you who's holding you back? Are you the person who's basically telling yourself these things, or is it your environment? It's very important to understand that, all right? So if you're surrounded by fixed mindset types of people, people who essentially tell you, or don't be a high achiever, whatever your skills are is what you've learned, you can't learn anymore, don't look towards acquiring any more skills. In fact, if you've ever been around certain people where you pitch them an idea or a type of way to think like, hey, you know, what if we start this business, and you've been shot down, right? That's an indication of your friend group, you're the people that you hang around, whether by choice or, you know, if you're younger, not by choice, then that's probably why you have a fixed mindset, and you need to actively look towards changing that. Hang around people who do have a growth mindset, people who do encourage you to think outside of the box, doing things that are different, things that are outside of your comfort zone, becoming uncomfortable, those types of things. That's what you need to be surrounded with. Now, but the honest truth is, majority of people who have a fixed mindset are just as much as the problem of their environment, especially if you're, you know, a middle-aged person above the age of 25 living by yourself, right? And there's not a lot of opportunity for anyone else to be surrounding you with a fixed mindset, because you're with yourself or by yourself the majority of the time. So if that is you, right, then you're in for a little bit of a different journey. You probably need to start plugging into a mentorship. Everything's going to result towards changing your environment anyway, but it's understanding about whether it's distancing yourself from certain people or trying to basically get in touch with certain people. Now, I highly suggest everyone is able to plug in the mentorship through reading books, right, listening to CDs, especially nowadays with audiobooks. There's no excuse, right? No matter what you're doing, whether it's, you know, going for a morning jog, whether it's going to work, whether it's driving, you can always have the ability to basically plug into a certain type of person who understands what it is that you're trying to accomplish and listen to how they've done it or certain tips towards achieving it. Especially with audiobooks, there's so many different books out there that you can just constantly have playing, right? So that's one way to get out of a fixed mindset, is by understanding first where it stems from. Is it your environment or is it yourself? Chances are it's always going to be a little bit of both, but you're going to be dominant in one of those factors. Look towards distancing yourself from your environment, recreating a new one with new people, and understanding if your thoughts are the reasons as to why your limitations exist, right? That's the first step towards changing to a growth mindset. And once you understand that, then you can start looking towards applying it in your day-to-day life, applying it in your work, whether it's basically situating, how many times have you been, let's say you're in a management position, right? And basically changes are basically put towards the store, things are basically expected of you that you need to change, and you reject it, right? If that's you, that's an indication of being in a fixed mindset. Chances are if you run a business, you're most likely not in a fixed mindset, because part of being a business owner, especially one that's successful, is that you have to have a growth mindset. You have to be willing to adapt. You have to understand that times are going to change. But if you do run a business and your numbers are dying, are you in a fixed mindset? What are the changes that you do need to make? Because there's always an answer to every single problem, right? Being solution orientated, no matter what, if you stick to the problem long enough, eventually you'll find a solution. Albert Einstein says it's not that he's highly intelligent or it's smart, I just stick to problems longer than everybody else. If you stick to something, focus your thoughts on it, eventually you'll solve it. And the same thing can be attributed to your mindset, to your skill set, to the problems that you have in your life, your relationships around you, and so on and so on and so on. Which also talks about relationships, right? Sometimes the book talks about, occasionally, you can have two people who are growth mindset orientated, or a growth mindset person with a fixed mindset person, get into a relationship, right? And just like any other relationship, relationships also fall into one of these two categories, right? So many times relationships that fall apart are fixed mindsets. They don't believe that they can solve the problem. They don't believe that they can solve the issue that's going on. Part of that is due to communication. Part of that is due to basically the mindsets that individuals have. But you have to review everything like in a growth mindset type of state. It's your first of all, it comes off as recognizing, if you're watching this video and you are in a relationship, right? How many times have you heard people where all of a sudden they wake up in the night and their significant other leaves, or the significant other says, look, this isn't for us. It's very unfortunate, but if you can sort of take a step back and understand, is that's what's happening to me, all right? Is my relationship growing? Is my relationship developing into a positive way? Do we have goals? Are we achieving the things that we're setting out to do? If not, that's an indication of a fixed mindset and the fact that you guys aren't growing. If you're not growing, you are dying. So which one are you falling into? That's the first step. Always stems from understanding, admittance, basically being like, I do need help, right? Just like a lot of Alcoholics Anonymous, a lot of success tips, you know, if you attribute addiction to a bunch of different aspects of your life, you can find a solution in the similar ways. So that's the first step, and understanding, well, is my relationship in this category, okay? Now, the thing is, you do need to be looking towards a relationship as development, just like a business, just like anything else, just like your personal self. You're always going to be working towards something. Now, is it working towards growth or is it working towards falling apart? And if you can basically be honest with yourself and answer those questions, then you're on the right track, and that's awesome, that's perfect. But the next thing that you need to understand is that most of all, if you do come to a realization because of this video, or because you read the book yourself, it's going to take patience, right? No one's going to, get a degree overnight most of the time, right? Unless you're an extreme genius, right? things are going to take time. You can't just read one book and expect to change the person. However, it's those small daily things that you do every single day, the small routine-based things, the small habits that you have that are going to dictate your future. So if you start making steps in the right directions, level of evaluations, understanding that you can be better on a day-to-day basis, then you're already halfway there, because that's literally the start of the battle and also the end. Accumulating those small changes across your life are obviously going to develop you towards becoming a better person. And that's what being a growth mindset is all about. Not being disheartened by the setback of time, not being disheartened by the fact that it's going to take a long time. Anyways, guys, that's it for Quick Notes with Chris. That was Mindset by Dweck. I highly suggest you don't stop there. Keep going on your journey of improvement, watch other videos, and putting yourself in a better position for success. I'll see you guys in the next video.